this whole time. I'm back now. I believe I was muted that whole time on one of my microphones, so apologies. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the Titans-Buffalo Bills game. Then we're going to talk about a trip I just got done taking to Walt Disney World. I just did a whole 2-minute spiel on that, and nobody probably even heard it, except maybe the podcast version. I also mentioned that I might be starting to release some of these live streams I'm going to do as a podcast, so catching everybody up to speed on that. But basically said, doing a live stream today instead of a previously edited video, because last thing I wanted to do fresh off coming back from a vacation was sit down and have to go through the editing process on those, because that is my least favorite thing about making videos, is editing them. If I ever was to get to a point where I made any money off this channel whatsoever, I would directly invest in paying somebody to edit all my videos for me, because that is by far the most annoying part of doing this. So here's what we got today. We're going to preview the Bills game against the Tennessee Titans, Monday Night Football tonight, live from Nissan Stadium. I will be there. There will be a vlog coming from that game later this week, but wanted to get ahead of it and see what I thought about the game. Here's what I think. Gut tells me the Titans are going to get killed, because, I mean, the Bills have just been rolling through everybody, and I think 90% of our team is on the injury list. A.J. Brown, the latest added with illness. Got Julio coming back, but it all seems to be stacking up against us. But there are a couple things that make me feel a little bit okay about it. Just about every analysis, every professional media person I've seen picking the game is saying it doesn't matter what the line gets up to. Take the Bills, they're going to kill the Titans. Take the Bills, they're going to kill the Titans. Very heavily seems everybody's picking against us, and it tends to be when people are going that heavily one way for whatever reason, things swing the other way. So who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we're that team where the public money all goes on the Bills and we pull the upset and Vegas wins like they always do. I don't know. That makes me feel pretty good that it seems like Vegas is hoping people bet against us. That's always a good place to be. Titans, for whatever reason, always seem to play their best when their backs are against the wall, when everybody's counted them out, when they're a favorite, when they're doing well, when they're playing good. That's where they fall apart. See the Jets game earlier this season, came off a big win. Everything seemed like it was clicking. We're finally connecting in, went and lost to the worst team in the league. So, this is actually the kind of situations we seem to do better in, is when we're underdogs, back against the wall, whole team's injured, nobody believes in us. But that's not deep analysis. That's not deep analytics. That's just, it is what it is. It's what happens sometimes. I'm still thinking the Bills are going to beat us. I don't see, it's very hard to see how well they've been playing versus how badly we've been playing for the most part. Unless this is just Derrick Henry's breakout 300-yard game or something like that, where they just can't stop him. The one other thing that I would say would be kind of maybe in our favor is we do seem to have had their number lately. I mean, last season we ran them off the field in that random weird COVID Tuesday night football game. Now, a lot of people chalk that up as, the Bills had no time to prepare. They didn't know if they were going to play or not. Titans had half a practice before that game and then still ran up and killed the Bills. So I don't know why the Bills' lack of preparation was such a detriment, but the Titans wasn't. But, I mean, our offense, the way it ran right through them last game. The few things our defense does well seem to counter what their offense did well last year. So I don't know. They seem to have taken a huge step forward since that game, both last season and this season. It doesn't seem like it's the same Buffalo team that we ran off the field in that game. So I don't have a lot of faith in the Titans pulling off anything in this one, but we'll see what happens. It could go either way. No, it actually could. I think it can only go the Buffalo way, but I'm hopeful. We'll see. I'll be there live. And you know who else will be there live? About 60,000 Buffalo fans. It's going to be insane tonight. This is going to be, I would say we're looking at, this might be the worst full-blown takeover of Nissan Stadium by an opposing fan base we've maybe ever seen. I think it'll definitely be the biggest since the Bears came in here, 7 or 8 years ago. They were undefeated. They were rolling. They were one of the better teams in the league. We were terrible. It was during our dark periods. And it was a completely, I'd say 50,000 Chicago fans that game. I think the Bills have a chance to have that, because all I saw on Twitter all weekend long was Bills fans flying in all weekend. I just flew back in yesterday from Orlando, plane full of Bills fans. BNA Airport full of Bills fans. I don't think Nissan Stadium can hold as many Bills fans seem to have come to Nashville for this game. I don't know what's going to happen there. It's going to be crazy. Only hope on that is that the ones that have been here all weekend, the ones that got in yesterday and I don't think this has happened because they probably have the best tolerance in the world, but maybe they just all got way too drunk. They're going to be way too hungover and won't even make it to the game. highly doubtful. They seem like the type that can just keep partying and keep partying on through. So fully expect tonight to be a huge, huge home game, basically, for the Buffalo Bills, which is one of the things that kind of sucks about Nashville becoming such a nice tourist city, a destination city. We're now one of those teams that are, if you pop up on another team's calendar in the NFL, that's going to be your team's pick to go to the road game. It's like us and now the Las Vegas Raiders. If you've got the Titans or the Las Vegas Raiders on your schedule, that's the game where everybody in your fan base is going to coordinate and decide that's the game we're going to travel to because we want to go to a fun city where a lot's going on and can have a good weekend before we even go to the game. So great. Nashville's an destination city, and now every team in the world is going to come here and take over our stadium. Because it wasn't hard enough in the past, but whatever. Whatever. It is going to be what it is going to be. Hopefully nobody puts me through a table tonight, but if they do, that'd be good content for the channel, so we'll see. If I had to make a score prediction for the game, I think I would go 35-17 Bills. That's what's popping into my head. We're going to try something live here. See how this goes. I'm going to attempt to call our official Titans correspondent, Kyle Cravens. I didn't give him any heads up on this. He's working today, I believe, so he probably won't even pick up. We're going to give it a shot. Get him live on the air to share his thoughts because he's always good for a factoid.
What's up, guy?
Hey, I'm doing a live video previewing the Titans game. I thought you might want to share your thoughts.
They're going to get boat race.
What do you think the score is going to be?
40-20.
40-20. I said 35-17, so we're kind of in the same ballpark.
Yeah, it's just like one of the analytics guys, and I can't remember who he wrote for, but was kind of going over it. And this is just like a huge mismatch for the Titans. The way that they play, the way we play, it just isn't conducive to a victory. But I will say Kenny Osborne has picked the Titans to win by a landslide.
Kenny Osborne. If you guys know who Kenny Osborne is, he's a very successful. He's kind of the main voice in the grocery industry here in Nashville. He's got his ear to the ground. He's a smart man. If there's anybody who I would trust other than Kyle to pick this game, it's Kenny Osborne. So that makes me feel pretty good. Let me get your thoughts on this before I let you go real quick. Here's my only logical way I can think we might win this game.
Derrick Henry runs for 800 yards.
That's obviously the statistic, analytically, like actually looking at what might actually happen in the game. That's the only way. But here's what I like about the game. Number one, for whatever reason, the Titans are just always better when nobody believes in them, when we're the underdog. I don't know why. I don't know if there's something about the way Vrabel motivates the team where they get up so much more for that than
they definitely play to their opponent.
Anything else. So everybody's counting us out tonight. So maybe he's got something in his bag to get the team motivated that gets us over the hump. Number two, everybody in the world, and like you said, the analysts, the gambling people, everybody's all over the Bills in this game. It's like 100% Bills. I would guarantee most of the public money is betting on the Bills. And a lot of times, Vegas wins in that situation. So if all the money is on the Bills, I would trust Vegas and hope that means we're going to win or at least cover. At least we won't get killed. We just have to finish within 6 to not cover. So maybe it's like 21-20. Who knows?
Well, they're also paying, the odds are probably pretty stacked, though. Like, you'd have to bet probably $2,000 to win $1 for the Bills to win. Because we're so bad.
If you go money line, you'd have to go that way. But if you bet the spread, it's probably like almost 110. So it'd be like 1 to win 9 or 1 to win 0.9. So, but the other thing I like it. The other thing this is the one thing that I think, and Matt Baggs said, I heard a lot of Bill fans in Tennessee. Yep, they are all over the place. I just flew in yesterday from Orlando. The airport was packed with Bills fans. I don't know how they're all going to fit in Nissan Stadium. There's only 68,000 seats in Nissan Stadium, and I think I've seen more Bills fans than that in Nashville so far. So that's going to be great for us. But here's the other thing. I don't know if it was just a weird week with the COVID thing that happened last year, but maybe we're just a team like the way the Chiefs used to have the Bills number. Maybe we have the Bills number. I don't know. I don't think so because they've been killing everybody, and they look like a completely different team from that point last year, but these are just the things I'm clinging on to for hope.
Well, so Kyle's keys to victory.
All right, here we go. Kyle's keys to victory.
Derrick Henry has to run the ball and run it effectively. We have to give Ryan Tannehill more time to complete some passes. Mm-hmm. And inversely, we have to do a better job. We're getting a lot of pressures, and a lot of people are talking up like, yeah, Harold Landry's getting pressures, but with these new wave of quarterbacks, like pressuring Zach Wilson, pressuring Kyler Murray, that really isn't good enough anymore in this league. Like, you have to actually get your hands on those little squirrely guys, because those guys you pressure and they just roll out for an extra 4 seconds and then bomb it to a receiver 80 yards downfield. Yeah. So
Josh Allen's the same way. If we don't finish the sacks, he's fully capable of breaking off a 20-yard scramble and killing us no matter how much pressure we put him on.
Pressures aren't worth anything. And then we also are going to have somebody step up in the secondary with Christian Fulton being out. I mean, Caleb Farley is going to have to bring his A game, because Stephon Diggs and Emmanuel Sanders
are my God. You just said that. I forgot Fulton was out. And if he's who we're hanging our hat on, we're already in trouble. So basically, Kyle's keys to victory are the Titans have to do everything good that they've done bad all season, right?
Yeah, basically, they have to turn the team around. But Dad said, Dad's point was the past couple of years, they've taken 4 or 5 games to really get rolling and get their game plan implemented, it seems like. And, that does make sense. We've had a rough start the past 2 or 3 years and finished strong. So maybe this Bills game will be our turning point.
All right. I got a question from the chat. Matt Baggs says, what defense does the Titans traditionally run? Like a hybrid 3-4, maybe? Kind of, where we kind of mask where the pressure's coming from, but then the pressure doesn't get there anywhere, so it doesn't really. Basically, we just put 11 players on the field, and they kind of will stand, about 20 yards away from the line of scrimmage and just see what the other team's going to do and hope for the best.
That was kind of another Kenny key to victory was we can't play 40 yards off the ball. He says Jenkins is playing so far back that it's just ridiculous. Well, and I'm in agreement. Like, we got to get more aggressive. We got to dial up more blitzes. We got to play on the ball. We got to bump them, in the middle of their route. And then got to get more than pressure on the quarterback.
I think everybody has figured that out over the last 2 years except for Shane Bowen.
Don't get me started on Shane Bowen.
All right. Well, you got any final thoughts you want to share before I let you go?
No, go Titans. Don't get me wrong. Don't take my pessimism for me not wanting the Titans to win. Obviously, I want them to beat that ass and prove me wrong. But
have you fought any fires today?
No, we've been nice and slow, which is how we like it.
Good day. Good luck with the rest of your day. Hopefully you get to stay in and watch the game. I will be there, and hopefully, like I said earlier,
be watching it here. I can't stand a Titans meltdown at work. I'm going to save that misery for home.
Good. Yeah, that's probably safe. I'm going to be there and trying to make sure nobody puts me through a table.
All right. Take it easy.
All right. See you later.
All right. See you.
All right. We got Kyle. That was a good surprise appearance from Kyle there. He had some good thoughts. Kenny being on the Titans makes me feel a lot better than that. Like I said, he's the leading grosser in all of Nashville. So, I mean, if anybody knows football, it's a guy who's head and shoulders above the rest of the game in the grocery industry. Kenny Osborne. Go to Piggly Wiggly over by Vanderbilt. Tell him old Uncle Mad sends you. He won't know what that means. All right. I have no more thoughts about the Titans game. I'm as pessimistic as I've ever been about a game in this kind of like last few years. Cause like the last few years, it felt like we turned a corner. We'd gotten towards where we should be a contender, but the defensive struggles, the injuries, everything's starting to sort of break me back down to feeling like it's going to be more of and not the dark days when we were like 3-13, 2-14, but it feels like it's slightly got over the hump, but it feels like we're still just like the 9-7, 8-8, 7-9 style Titans, which I mean, I guess we won't be that way this year because there's 17 games, so it's impossible to beat those records, but we just got to hope the rest of the FC, we'll see what happens tonight, but my gut feeling is they're going to kill us. And then, we got the Chiefs who seem to have had a get right game last week coming up, but I don't want to talk about the Titans anymore because I'm just getting sad. And I haven't even seen the game yet. The game hasn't even happened, and I'm getting sad about it. Let's talk about something happy. Let's talk about something magical. I just got back from Walt Disney World. Tons of content filmed of that trip. That's going to be coming soon on the channel. Like I said, one of the reasons I did this stream today instead of a regular video was I'm recovering from a vacation. Like, that's what a Disney vacation does to you. And I didn't feel like taking the time to sit down and do all the editing today. So I just figured I'd jump on a live stream and shoot from the hip and not have to worry about it. So did want to share my basic thoughts about a Disney trip. Overall, awesome experience. Great. It's the first time I've been with my family all there together in like 12 years. First time I've been with my wife, Jessica, down there, period. It was a blast. It was great just being there with them because I've done so much of the stuff going so often that it wasn't, about going to the rides and doing all that for me. It was just about being there with them and kind of getting to experience things with them. Whew. I will jump back to the Titans for a second. Matt Barak says, interesting you talk about the Dark Ages. How has it been from an outsider to see the Bills rise over the past 4 years? That's been fun. I like the way the Bills have done stuff. I think I like everything about the Bills. The fan base, as insane as they are, they're fun to watch from an outsider perspective. When they've been here in the past for Titans games, they've generally, they support their team, but they're not like a-holes the way some other fan bases are. Not going to name names, but the Baltimore Ravens. But, they're a team that's done things the right way to me. And, if the Titans could get a few things right here and there and do things similarly, I would have no problem with that. Somebody send me an email or something. But yeah, it's cool. I know the Bills had a long stretch between, the 4 straight Super Bowls to a little bit of success when Bledsoe came over, but it's good to see teams like that, with passionate fan bases doing well, because I mean, that's what it's all about, is it's the fans getting rewarded when the teams do well. So when you got a good fan base like the Bills have and you're doing well, it's, as long as it's not getting rubbed right in your face and not a division opponent, it's not the end of the thing in the world to see. But a few more thoughts on Disney and I'll get out of here. If I had one big issue with the trip, it's that it's the 50th anniversary celebration going on right now. Officially started October 1st. It's supposed to run for a year, so maybe things will change. Maybe things will be added as they go. But being down there, outside of like a few signs, a little bit of merchandise here and there, you really would have no idea the 50th anniversary is going on. I mean, people make fun of the 25th anniversary birthday cake castle, the way they turned the whole Cinderella's castle into a big birthday cake when they had the 25th anniversary. I was there for that. I was a kid, so it didn't look as dumb to me as apparently people thought it looked. But I mean, at least coming in, seeing that big thing, seeing everything about it, you knew it was a big deal. You knew big things were happening at Disney. And it just seems Bob Chapek and the current regime don't care about the history of the park, don't care about really the consumers that much. They just care about making money. So there's so much that's been cut, so much that's not going on, so many penny pinching things going on, and they'll blame COVID for that. But I mean, if any company in the world could have survived COVID and kept spending money, it's obviously Disney, and they chose not to. The lines weren't terribly long. They were much longer this summer. The summer when I went, it was insane. I barely wanted to ride anything when I went in July, just because you ride one ride and it took up too much time. Of course, our trip was the week before they launched the new Lightning Lane, so it'll be interesting to see how that rollout goes, what that does to the wait times. But I think the longest we waited for anything was like an hour and 10 minutes maybe for Rise of Resistance, which we did right at the end of the day. So we caught it at probably the lowest time you could get it. But everything else was 30 to 40 minutes, and the weather wasn't too terrible. So it wasn't like you were just standing there in the unbearable heat while you were in line. Fall's a good time I would definitely, I say probably never, but I end up going all the time. So I'd say I'd never go in July again, but there's almost definitely a chance I'll go. Really, if I go back in like July or summer, it will depend on how the Lightning Lane stuff turns out. If that ends up making getting through rides easier, maybe I'll do more summer trips. But fall, wait time wise, this was much better than my summer trip this year. The new fireworks shows are a huge disappointment. Everybody in my party loved Enchantment at Magic Kingdom, but nobody in my party had seen Happily Ever. And that's probably the problem. It's like, it's a great show still, whatever, fireworks, the lights are going, but it's so much worse than Happily Ever After was. So if you're gonna get rid of something like Happily Ever After, you got to bring in something better. And they didn't. They just thought, what's a cheap way we can do something and say we're doing it for the 50th anniversary? And it was to throw together a fireworks show really quickly. And that's what Enchantment feels like. It feels like it was thrown together at like the last minute to say, well, we need something to say that we did something for the 50th anniversary. And that's Enchantment at the Magic Kingdom. So that one's harmonious. We could barely see the barges from where we were. That's one of the downfalls of it, is apparently there's only like 2 to 3 spots around World Showcase where you can actually really fully see the show. And there's not that much fireworks to harmonious compared to some of the other fireworks shows. So if you can't see the screens that well, there's like long stretches of time where you're not sure if the show's still going. Like we watched it one night from the boardwalk and it was hilarious. So we couldn't hear the music. We could just see the fireworks coming up over the top of the boardwalk. And fireworks ended and we thought, oh, the show must have ended. So we started to walk back to the room and all of a sudden fireworks started again. Because there was such a long gap in fireworks that we not being able to hear the music, not being able to see the screens, we just thought it was over. But those things were huge disappointments. The lack of characters in the park. I know they've announced that in the next couple months or so, they're going to bring back more meet and greets. But I mean, at this point, it's ridiculous to not have more character interactions, more meet and greets available. I didn't even think about it till we got done. My mom texted me yesterday afternoon. She's like, do you realize we didn't see Mickey Mouse the entire time we were down there? And she was right. We saw him on, Runaway Railway, the ride, the cartoon version of him, but we did not see one single Mickey Mouse the entire time we were in Walt Disney World, which is just absolutely insane to be there for a full week and not see Mickey Mouse once. Now, we could have just like plopped down on Main Street and waited for a cavalcade that he was on to come through. We could have gone to one of the spots where he might randomly pop up and just waited till he showed up. Could have booked a character breakfast to try to see him, but it was dining reservations, especially for like 7 people, are insanely hard to get. So we went to Walt Disney World for a week and never saw Mickey Mouse. That's kind of garbage if you ask me. But I mean, it's fun. It's always fun to go. It's definitely, there's some disappointing things about it right now, but it is what it is. It's still a great place. It's still fun. It's still too expensive. But that's probably where it gets to you right now, is that, you know, if you don't know, so I probably follow it too closely and know some of the stuff they're cutting, know some of the stuff that they're doing behind the scenes that make it seem worse. It's like I said, everybody in my party who'd never seen Happily Ever before thought Disney Enchantment was the most incredible fireworks show ever. So if you don't know things that I know, you can go to Disney and have a great time. I went to Disney and had a great time. It's just there's things that disappointed me about it, and that's probably just because I follow it too closely and know too much and whatever. It was a blast. As much as I rag on it, and I'll be back, who knows, month, 2, 3 months, January, February, somewhere in there, I'll probably find a way to get down there. Ooh, excuse me. But got a ton of content while I was down there. Filmed all day, every day. Definitely going to have at least, 10 vlogs coming out of that trip from the different stuff we did. Went to Halloween Horror Nights while we were down there, which was insane. That was the thing that I went to where, for the first time going back to the parks post-COVID, that was where I was like, okay, everything's back to normal, at least Universal. Disney still feels like a stripped down kind of half-assed version of Disney right now, because there's still so little entertainment. Like I said, the characters aren't out anywhere. Lightning Lane's coming next week, so there still wasn't Fast Pass, so wasn't quite the full Disney experience I wanted, but it was a great week. We were right there at the Boardwalk Resort. We were able to walk over to the parks, jump in. Park hopping again was great. I had a blast. I had fun. I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer and act like it was terrible, but there's just the Disney side of it still doesn't quite feel like a full-blown Disney experience, and that's a little bit disappointing, but overall it was fun. It's a blast. I'll be back as soon as I can. But like I said, Halloween Horror Nights, going to that was like, okay, this is how it should be. This is what Disney needs to get their stuff together, catch up. It's insane how Universal has passed by Disney in the last 2 years in terms of investing in the park, getting behind the park, pushing the park forward. And Disney's just been kind of almost pulling back more and more and more and investing less and less in the parks. Once again, that's the frustrating side of it. The parks are still a lot of fun, but if you kind of know the behind the scenes of how much they're pulling back, how much they're not investing right now, that's very frustrating to me. But I still had a good time. Still got a ton of content. All that's coming to the channel. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do so now. Turn the bell on for notifications so you get to see all those videos as they come. Like I said, going to the Titans-Bills game tonight, so there will be a vlog coming from that later this week. Subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications. That's all. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It's Uncle Matt everywhere I am. So I post more stuff from the game there. I'll probably have a meltdown on Twitter tonight. So if you want to see me have a live meltdown on Twitter, go follow along there. Otherwise, I think we're done here. Thanks for tuning in if you did, or if you're watching a replay, thanks for watching the replay. Or I guess that's the only, I don't know if there's another, if this is getting, oh yeah, I'm recording this to try to do a podcast version. So if you heard the podcast version, thanks for listening. I also do these on video on YouTube. Go subscribe on YouTube. Good night.